Hello, welcome to Just Prime. As part of this video, we are going to see one of the main feature which got introduced in JDK 21. It's called as virtual threads. So we are going to see what is virtual threads, how it will differ from the normal threads, and how to create it. So these are the two things we are going to see it. So first we are going to see what is a virtual thread. So virtual thread got introduced in JDK 21 as part of Project Loom, and virtual threads are managed by JVM. But whereas if you compare to the normal threads, so the normal threads are managed by OS or OS managed by threads. So this is one of the basic difference. So normal threads are managed by OS, but whereas in case of virtual threads are managed by JVM. So the next difference is like virtual threads are very lightweight, whereas in case of normal threads are heavyweight. It's like an example if you take, right, like normal threads are like one person per car. One person is going by a car, whereas in case of virtual thread it's like a bus. In a pool of bus, in a one bus, a pool of people is going. So that much difference is there. Like if you see, the virtual threads are taking in terms of kilobytes, whereas normal threads are taking in terms of MBs. So that much difference is there. Okay, next come back to the different. It's like virtual threads are kind of user thread, but it will vary. So it will be managed by completely the JVM, but whereas in case of normal threads it will be managed by operating system. So that's the basic difference. So now what I'm going to do, so I'm going to show you how to create virtual threads and what are the different ways to create it. So as part of the current JDK 21, we can able to create virtual threads in three different ways. First, let me show you the way how to create it, and we are going to see how to run it. So I just opened my IntelliJ. I'm going to create a simple class virtual thread demo. So this is the class name. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple main method. So currently I'm using JDK 21 25. I'm going to use the JDK 25 feature, which is called as a main method. I'm not going to use any public static void main. So this is a simple main method. So before going to see how to create a virtual thread, so I'm going to show you how to create a normal thread and how it will be tagged to the operating system. So that we are going to see it. So let me create normal thread. So I'm going to create a normal thread. I'm going to run it and I'm going to show you how it is attaching to the operating system. So if you see here, right, so I just created a simple thread by using the thread class, and I have just passed the anonymous implementation, and it will just print a simple assist out, and which will take or which will sleep a 50,000 milliseconds, roughly 5 seconds. Okay, so let me start it and I will show you how we can able to observe. So this one in your operating system. So if you see, the thread is started and we can see the process ID also. I'm printing it. So task manager, so I'm going to look for the process name called Java. So go to the details and look for the JAVA Java. If you see, right, so we can see here there is a process called 160. So it got terminated. So let me restart it again. So it's restarting and I will show you. So we can see a new thread got started 5832. So this is the one which is managed by operating system. Okay, so the normal threads are tagged with the operating system, but whereas when you build a simple class and main method, so that the main method is default by default normal thread and which will be tagged with the operating system. Now let me go back to our main thing. We are going to create virtual threads by using the first approach. So that is called by using the thread class, and it will start by default the thread. So that's the first approach. So I'm going to create thread class, but it will start automatically. So this is the first approach. So let me write a piece of code. Okay, now we come back, right? So I have written a simple thread by using the thread class thread dot of virtual dot start. So this is the first approach. By default the thread will start automatically. We no need to start explicitly, and we can pass the implementation. So inside this thread you can pass the implementation however you want, whatever you need it. So this is the way we can create a virtual thread, and it will start by default. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this particular Java program, and I want to see the output. If you see, the main method is completed, but we are not seeing this run virtual method, run virtual thread in so this particular statement we are not seeing it, because like I said before, right, so the virtual threads are running inside the JVM, but whereas the main thread or default thread will be running inside the OVM. So that's the basic difference. So when we start this main method, so what is happening, so the main thread or default thread is completing before virtual thread, and it's displaying the output. Now what's happening, so main thread is completing, but the virtual thread is still running, but it's waiting for the 2 milliseconds. 2 milliseconds. So that's the reason we are not able to see the output. So to hold this one, to see our output, what you have to do, you have to call a join method, so that the main thread will be waiting till completing the child thread. So that way we can able to link your virtual thread with the main thread. So let me run it, and we can see its main thread is completed, and we can see the virtual thread output also. We can able to see, we can see a virtual thread and some thread number, and so it's running under which pool, it's a pool of threads. So this virtual threads will be managed by a JVM, and under inside the JVM a pool of thread will be managed by JVM. It's not one thread, multiple threads will be managed by a pool. So that way these virtual threads are running. So this is the first approach. We can able to create a thread by using the thread class of virtual method, and it will start by default, and we no need to start explicitly. So this is the first approach. Let me comment it out, and I will show you the second approach, how to create a thread. The second approach we are going to use it called, this is also thread. We are going to use the thread, but we need to start this thread explicitly, so it will not start automatically. So that how we are going to unstart. So let me write a piece of code how we are going to create a thread with this approach. We need to start explicitly in this case, but we are going to use the thread class. So now you see, now I have written a thread, virtual thread of virtual but unstarted. So that means the thread will not start automatically, but I have written a piece of logic here. So let me start, and let's see whether we can able to see output or not. If you see, the thread is started and it's completed a main method, but we are not seeing the virtual thread output. Why? Because let me maximize, we cannot see any sysout specific to virtual thread. Why? Because this thread we have to start explicitly, but we are not starting this one. We just created the thread and we just joined, that's it. We have not started this one. So to start this one, we have to use start, then save it. Now let me rerun this one. Let's see output what we are going to get it. So its thread is waiting, and now virtual thread is completed, and then we are going to see the main thread is completed. So that's the basic difference between the previous approach what we have used, thread dot of virtual start, but whereas the current approach thread dot of virtual unstarted. So that means we have to start the thread explicitly whenever you need it. So that's one of the second approach to create virtual thread. So now let me show you the third approach, how we are going to create a thread. So the third approach, what we are going to use it, we are going to use the executor service framework, and we can able to pass the multiple work or multiple threads we can able to create very easily. So that's the uh, main difference. So we are going to use executor framework, and we are going to create multiple threads, and we can pass bunch of work to execute threads to process the work. So let me create a threads by using the executor framework, and I'm going to create a virtual threads. So now you can see by using the third approach we can use the executor framework, and by using this executor framework we can able to create a multiple threads, and we can able to pass the work to that. So here we are not going to use any join method because we are submitting the threads so that it will work together. So if you see this executor framework, I'm going to use executor dot new virtual thread per task, and once you get the executor thread, and you can submit the number of work items what you were expecting to run the threads, and you can pass the thread, and you can call submit executor dot submit. So that way executor framework will create multiple threads, and you can pass the work item what it's supposed to be done. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to execute or run this program by using the or IntelliJ. Let me see, I'm going to run 5 threads. See, if you see here, I just created 5 threads as part of this for loop. I'm creating 5 threads, and now I can see this got executed successfully. 5 threads, 1 to 5, and we can see the main thread also completed. So this is the way we can able to create virtual threads in 5 different ways. The first approach is we have seen thread class and by default start method, and thread class unstarted method, and third approach we are going to use the executor framework. So this is the two different ways we can create threads, and these threads will be managed by completely a JVM. So that's the basic difference between virtual threads and normal threads. So now finally, before going to finish, what is the, we are going to see the main benefit. What's the main benefit of these virtual threads? So the virtual threads are useful while when interacting with the database, or when we are interacting with the servers, like when we are handling the client request. Like when we are getting multiple requests, we can able to handle it with the help of virtual threads, so that this can be processed parallelly. The third one is we can able to use the network request like HTTP or HTTPS, and the fourth one we can use inside the microservices. So these are the different ways we can use it, this virtual threads, such a way that we can process the request parallelly, and we can able to get out of benefit. And like I said, these virtual threads are very lightweight compared to the normal threads. Normal threads are heavyweight and it require megabytes of memory, but whereas in case of virtual threads, maximum maybe it will start with kilobytes. So that's the basic difference. And another difference we can see, the normal threads we can create a maximum of thousands, and whereas virtual threads we can create around a million, such a way that we can avoid the out of memory issues. So that's the basic difference. I think that's all about this video, the way how to handle or how to work with the virtual threads. If you like the video, you can subscribe the channel for more subsequent updates, and thank you.